this is Amla Reddy, Executive Editor of Commercial Integrator, and I'm delighted to be joined by Bobby Swartz of Advanced Network Devices as part of our InfoComm 2026 Spotlight, featured on our site for the months of May and June. Welcome, Bobby. So nice to have you back here.
Amala, a pleasure as always. Thank you for having me.
Great. So before we begin, can you give a brief introduction to what you're doing at Advanced Network Devices lately?
Absolutely. I know it's been a little bit since we spoke, but I'm 7 months, which in AV could be 7 years, into working here at Advanced Network Devices, coming from the long career here in AV. We've had a lot going on. So, updates and things have been really around how do we focus on our integrators first. I've worked with Advanced Network Devices through my previous roles for over a decade, almost 2 decades. So really having a good pulse on what people need. And that's the simple stuff. Business doesn't need to be hard. How do we bring in clarity, project registrations, stock availability, transparency, and all those things? That had been a huge focus the last 7 months. Now we're starting to get into the fun. We're coming into InfoComm. It's about what do we do that's beyond? How do we continue pushing the edge of technology while still making sure our resellers, our integrators, our partners, the end users are really covered and bringing programs that are meaningful and beneficial to them. And that's it's been a journey. I don't know how long it's been, but I'm ready. We're ready to tackle that next chapter of this change in dynamic. So.
Awesome. And now you spoke about InfoComm being on the horizon. What do you think is the biggest opportunity for integrators right now?
Oh, good question. So for integrators, coming from the channel, why I came here was really important on seeing that opportunity. We've seen tons of chaos in the markets, like what's happening with funding, what's happening in these areas. There's a lot of pessimism, but there's a lot of opportunity. So it depends on the integrator, it depends on things. What I've seen here, why I left my previous role and came into Advanced Network Devices was there is a huge opportunity, specifically in education, that we continue to see. So it really depends on who you speak to, but anyone I've spoken to, from integration, from analysts, the numbers really start to match. What we do is IP-based paging, clocks, mass notification, and a whole bunch of peripherals around that. We can touch it just about everything. 70 to 90%, don't quote me on that, but everyone I've spoken to gives that as the market in the US in K-12 education still use purely analog devices for their core paging and clock systems. Now, a lot of people, I think the misconception is that it costs too much to go to IP. And I think that is a fallacy, because every customer I've worked with on those it's come to the point of like, wow, that could actually be the same or less expensive when you talk about these. So I think from an opportunity, if you have education clients, the IP paging and notification and that whole area that hasn't existed since it was created in 2004 by the company I'm working for now. It's a new area. This is a huge opportunity for integrators who are looking to supplement their business and for a whole channel to bring safety, to bring net new ideas forward to the masses. And again, that's what we talked about before, why I came here. So.
Yeah, I like one thing you mentioned is that how people think IP is expensive, and that's a fallacy. So speaking of the analog to IP upgrades, how do you think it benefits integrators in terms of the cost? Like, why should integrators move to IP?
So that's been one, I've made a career out of that in some cases, but we've had how many words have we had in audiovisual over the years? All the movements to IP. That's been here and done that. But the reality is most schools, if we stay focused on education right now, in both higher ed and K-12, we had E-rate, we had all these networks were upgraded in the last decade with government funding. We've pulled switches, we've pulled the cabling, we've installed the closets. Those have been updated because everything a school uses is on the network. What most people don't realize is that the analog paging system might have been installed in 1984 when the building was built, and it's failing. And a speaker might cost $39. A clock might cost $59. And they're like, whoa, that device that has an MSRP of $1,000, we can't afford that. It's too expensive. And exactly right if you look to apples to apples. But if you look at the solution as a whole, pulling new conduit, filling those cable terminals, going to standard plenum cables in the ceilings, this infrastructure cost is huge, especially when you're retrofitting. So if you already have the drops for and the closets for cable, which we have network cables everywhere, that's already up to code. We did a study. One of my favorite projects was it was a huge project in New Jersey. Won't name the names because I'm not allowed to, or not sure I'm allowed to. But I met them at a trade show in the basement of a Marriott hotel ballroom 8 years ago.
Wow.
And it was one of those little tiny trade shows. They're like, we can't afford your stuff. We're already updating 14 schools. And I said, well, are you sure? And I worked with their integrator and I said, you're putting it all analog, which is awesome, but can we they want to see what a digital option would be. They already have the drops. They had originally quoted and were ready to go to bond for $1.4 million for all of their schools to replace clocks and paging. The quote from the same integrator to go to our products, the advanced network devices, which was basically giving them IP paging, digital clocks, and mass notification for free, cost $250,000 less because of the infrastructure upgrades that were there. Everyone was happy. Everyone. Better features, better reliability, and an integrator who brought a value to their customer. And 8 years later, it's still they are the primary integrator for that school system because they save them money giving them better. These are the types of things that message. When I still see how much of the market is not offering, we only have so many funds. How do we use them? I love value. How can we bring that value forward? If it's not the right choice, it's not the right choice. But if we can give mass notification, safety, and all these other features for free, that's a message I'd love to get across and would love to work with as a high growth area for all of our integrators is how can we develop that with you? And that's what we're here to support.
Awesome. I like how you mentioned that you're bringing that value to integrators. So I wanted to ask you at InfoComm this year, what is Advanced Network Devices bringing to their booth?
So I still get a lot, they're like, you went to Advanced Network Devices. Like, who are they? Like, I've only worked with them for 17 years of my career, almost my entire career in my previous life where people know me from. For integrators, what Advanced Network Devices does is we literally invented the IP paging market in 2004. We were the first to come out with an IP speaker, made it available for others. This is what we've done. Here in Arlington Heights, where I'm sitting, our main offices, our campus here, we have a full US-based engineering team from mechanical to firmware. We have all of this. Our focus has always been on engineering prowess, inventing what's impossible, making things that people don't even know they need in most cases. So what we've come to do is really work on then, how do we bring that to market and how does that add value to our integrators? Our failure rates are lower than just about any electronic I've ever encountered in the US. And I've dealt with lots of electronics my entire life because we have boards that are made here in the United States. We press silicone here in the United States through contract manufacturers. Our engineering team, if you need a problem, it will take you about 2 minutes, if necessary, to get to the head engineer who actually designed the protocols that worked on. We stand behind our products. That's why we updated to the 6-year warranty earlier this year, one of our first conversations. And what we really want to do is just push forward. How do we continue to change? Not just what people need, but what people haven't thought about yet because they thought it was too hard. So for us, it is about when we bring that value to our integrators is you're literally talking to the people who really have made this product, who invented this technology, who are programming. If we need to talk to a programmer, write down, I can go tap them on the shoulder right now and bring them into this call. Customer support, they're a few aisles down from me. We are a US-based local company that is focused on the values of can we do what's never been done? Can we do it for a better value? And we're available to talk to you. Now, what we haven't done well historically is get that message across, Amala, which is why I'm here right now. All these things are the best kept secret in our industry, I think might be. So it's no longer a secret. We're here for our integrators. We're a channel focused company. We work only through distribution and through our channel partners. But we have a really strong value proposition, I believe. And that's where it's, what do you need as the integration base? What do you need? What do your customers need? And how can we make that, whether it's from programs to technology? We can cover the whole gamut and be straightforward about that. There's no secrets here. So
Awesome. I love how you dived into the whole value proposition of what advanced network devices is doing for integrators. It's not just outputting, it's not just providing the products, it's making the whole system reliable and long lasting, right? Future proofing it for many, many years to come. I know this is not part of the script, but I just wanted to ask you, what are you most excited to see at InfoComm this year?
Well, at InfoComm, this is going to be, for me personally, it's going to be really interesting because I have a much more casual schedule than I had in the past, coming from the manufacturing side instead of distribution. But for me, it's about, to me, InfoComm has always been about connection. So for me, it's about seeing all the people I know that I get to see virtually, but really getting to have those connections and introduce my new friends here at Advanced Network Devices into that AV network, who, I'll meet all my friends, meet all these, and really it's about rallying and talking about what we're doing and then finding out what people need. So to me, InfoComm has always been about relationships. So I'm just excited to be able to get together with everyone, see the customers, see the end users, see everyone, introduce new friends, new faces, and then find out what are the problems we're facing right now to see how I can help in the new role solve those. So to me, it's just always about the solutions and having the connections. Otherwise, we don't get to have. So
Awesome. And speaking of connections, where can the attendees find you and the Advanced Network Devices booth at InfoComm?
we will be found in the newly renovated, I've heard, and finally opened North Hall, booth number N8357. So look forward to seeing everybody in the new layout because I know a lot of us haven't seen that North Hall yet. So
Yeah, I think it's always been under wraps with all the construction around, so we don't have to circumvent around and we can go into the hall. But before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask, is there anything else that you would like to talk about that I haven't asked you?
I'd say the only thing as we get into InfoComm is to stay, right now it's been about our relationships with our customers and making sure we do the basics. We'll have some announcements coming in InfoComm, so come by the booth next week and we should have some new products that have been sorely missing, but I think also will change the expectation in the market. And that's what we're really about, is changing expectations. So be happy to share a few more things live and in person at the booth.
I think I'm excited to see that. Hopefully, I get to stop by the booth at InfoComm this June. But I wanted to thank you, Bobby, for joining me today.
Thank you, Amala, as always, and hopefully see you at InfoComm.
Absolutely. Once again, this is Amla Reddy from Commercial Integrator, and do check out our InfoComm Spotlight, now live on our website, commercialintegrator.com. Thank you.